TI Nspire to graph our equations, sometimes we have to work the other way round. So we're told what the graph looks like and we need to find the equation and go back the other direction. So for example, if you have a question like this, what you need to know is any 3 points or more than 3 on your curve. So we can see here that it crosses the x-axis at -2, at +1, and it crosses the y-axis at -4. So that gives us 3 coordinates. So we can use that on our TI Nspire. So if we open it up, we can go to Statistics, and we're going to press Enter, which allows us to edit our data. If you have information in here, if you highlight the L1 and then you delete and enter, it will get rid of them all in one go. So we're just pressing that clear button. So the first coordinate we said we had this point here, which is where x is -2 and y is 0. So we're going to type that in. We have x is -2 and y is 0. And then we can look for a second coordinate. So we also know that when x is -1, y is 0. So when x is -1, then we know that y is also 0. And we also knew either we could take the minimum point, but we're not exactly sure where it is. It might be half values, but it might not be. So we should only take points where it crosses the axis precisely. We could also take a point up here or up here. I'm going to take this one on the y-axis. So that's when x is 0, y is -4. So this time x is 0 and y is -4. So once you've got that done, you can then press second function y equals, and that does this stats plot. So we're going to click enter, and we're going to turn this on. So we're going to kind of use the left and right key, highlight on, and press enter. And this means that the calculator will now draw the data that we've just added in, so those coordinate points. You should make sure that you're on the scatter graph setting, list L1, list L2, and the colour doesn't really matter. You can change it if you wanted to. Once you've got that set up, we can press graph and we can see the information. If it doesn't look quite right, then you can press zoom and you can click on number 9, which is zoom stat, and that will show you the zoom into the statistics that you've drawn on. Just going to check my data here. Perfect. Regression line. So we can do statistics, and we just use the right arrow to go to calculations, and we're going to go to the quadratic regression because we know that this one looked like a quadratic on our initial information. So quadratic regression and enter. Make sure that you have list L1, list L2, and then we're going to calculate, and this gives you the values of A, B, and C for your formula. So my equation is -2x², -6x, -4, and that's the equation of this graph that I had drawn. If you wanted to see that graph drawn on your axis, you can do that. On the previous step, when you click statistics, you go to calculations, quadratic regression. This time, when you go to store regression EQ or equation, you're going to click the vars button. You're going to use the right arrow to go to yvars, and then you're going to press enter, enter, and then press calculate. So it still does everything else. This time, when you go to your graph, you can see what that curve looks like.